Hello, everyone. My name is Divya Makkapati,
Hi, and I'm Selena Fu.
and in the next 10 minutes, we'll be sharing with you our journey in creating ScarceCity, a podcast about food insecurity in higher education.
Yeah, and we're both in health-related majors and found ourselves talking about public health challenges together. So when it was time to start our Keystone, we wanted to work on a creative project that addresses a social issue. And we did this with a podcast because it's so accessible and it's so accessible, so you can listen to it like on a train ride into Boston or as you run on the Esplanade.
So we started by taking a class with our awesome advisor, Anne Donahue, and it was a class that was focused on using the medium of audio journalism to tell public health stories. And it was here that we learned how to use like a Zoom H5 recorder, how to structure a story, and how to use Adobe Audition to edit our audio. It was also here that we started working on our project.
Yeah, and we started to look into what food insecurity was. So what does it mean? The USDA defines food insecurity as a household-level economic and social condition of limited or uncertain access to adequate food. So the level of food insecurity someone experiences depends on their financial stability and location, which then influences the quality, variety, and nutrition of food available.
So research from the Greater Boston Food Bank finds that 1 in 8 people in Massachusetts is food insecure. So we started to look into every aspect of food insecurity that we could. What are its impacts on health? How can inadequate housing compound the effects of food insecurity? Which neighborhoods are struggling to access healthy foods, and why?
And we started to talk to anyone and everyone who could teach us more about food insecurity, including local service organizations like food pantries, soup kitchens, food rescue organizations, and meal delivery programs. And we also got a chance to talk to experts in the field and individuals experiencing food insecurity.
Hearing from all of these people changed the focus of our project. We were pointed to a huge issue in food insecurity that isn't talked about enough.
A study last year found that 33% of students in Massachusetts universities and colleges are food insecure. And the numbers are even higher in our community colleges, where 44% of our students are experiencing uncertain access to food. And so these numbers were really shocking to us, but we noticed that campuses don't really talk about how these challenges are, how these students are struggling with these challenges, such as balancing between having to pay for rent and books or having to pay for food, or just not having enough time to cook. So we asked ourselves, how do we start a conversation about food insecurity, specifically in higher education?
And we created ScarceCity to start discussions among our peers in Boston's colleges and universities, and to reach the school administrators who have the power to implement better programming to serve their students. So after we completed our interviews, we decided which ones would make the cut. And then framing our episodes around these conversations, we wrote scripts and spent lots of hours in the studio recording our narrations. Then we went through and edited our files until we had stuff that looked like this. And now we're going to actually play a cut from our second episode to show you what the final edits sound like.
Hello, listeners. Today we will be talking about hunger in higher education.
How does food insecurity affect college students in Boston, a city with 35 colleges and universities? I'm Divya Makkapati.
And I'm Selena Fu, and this is ScarceCity, a podcast exploring the existence and experience of food insecurity in Boston.
What? Don't pause.
Oops.
Okay.
That's the wrong one.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sorry. So what did we find in the course of creating a piece like this? Food insecurity has a greater impact on physical and mental well-being on students than either of us had imagined. So it often involves sacrificing time for self-care and sleep, which college already does, and that often leads to depression and anxiety. And so all of these negative influences boil down to a student's greatest worry, which is poor academic performance.
So we looked into whether schools or other organizations were doing work to combat food insecurity. And what we found is that a lot of really great community organizations are unheard of and underutilized. And in particular, the food rescue programs that both eliminate food waste and meet food need are not being frequently sought out by college students.
And we think this is likely due to an absence of discussion around food insecurity on college campuses. So stigma and lack of awareness has made it difficult for researchers to conduct extensive studies and for us to speak with current students experiencing food insecurity.
But
There's no other slide.
Oh, okay. Sorry. But awareness does seem to be picking up. In the past few months alone, Selena and I have been seeing flyers pop up all over campus, including in the KHC office, for resources related to food insecurity and food waste. And when we were doing a little bit of digging, we actually found that BU Dining donates excess food to one of the food rescue organizations that we talked to.
So going forward, we'd like to publish ScarceCity to iTunes and Spotify.
And we like to promote it by offering it to WTBU and WBUR, by reaching out to public health professors at BU, and by posting on social media.
Before we graduate, Divya and I would also like to take our findings to BU administration. And in addition to raising awareness and starting the conversation, we'd also like to propose specific solutions that the campus can do to combat this issue. And so one idea we both thought of was a community fridge or a food pantry on campus that stores extra food from dining halls or local groceries that will be able to provide for students who need it. And it could also partner up with BU's Student Food Rescue to help maintain the fridge and transport food.
Another idea that we felt could work really well here is a meal swipe sharing program, so that students who have extra meals on their dining plans can donate them to a meal bank, and then other students who may be struggling to find their next meal will be able to access those meals. This program is already in place at other schools in Boston, and we have a program here at BU where students will get ready-to-go meals and donate them to folks who are homeless. So we think a program like this would work here and would be an easy way to offer support to students at no extra costs.
We also found in one of our interviews that SNAP, commonly known as the food stamps program, isn't widely advertised to students who may be eligible based on their financial aid. And we found that no college in Massachusetts has locations on campus where students can use SNAP. So improving students' knowledge about these benefits and having more stores and restaurants that accept these benefits will definitely be a huge step forward. Yeah. And
for more solutions, check out our second episode of ScarceCity. Thank you, and a special thanks to Professor Donahue and Professor Bell for supporting us in this process and for making this project possible.
I should cut that line.
It's okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
So, yes.
So because you see that the problem is so much more prevalent in community colleges, do you think that there are specific solutions that are more amenable to the community college solution versus one for BU because we're a private university?
Yeah, we actually did find that Bunker Hill is one of the foremost schools in the area that's doing programming. And so they will partner, they have a food pantry on their campus, and they also have one of the programs that we talked to does prepared food rescue. So they'll create individual heat and eat meals. And Bunker Hill is one of the sites where they have those meals so that people can either take them when they get to campus and eat them there, or they can take them home to their families.
They were the most proactive community college we found that was doing stuff like this. Yeah.
So how many episodes, what's the structure of your podcast like? And what do the episodes look like?
So we have 2 episodes right now.
Yeah, fully edited. You want to know the structure of them each? Okay. Well, for our first episode, we interviewed Yesenia Jimenez, who worked at the Massachusetts Law Reform Institute, and we talked to her because she was actually a college student that experienced food insecurity in California, but she came here, and so we talked about kind of more general challenges that students face, And then in our second episode, we kind of offered more solutions based off of what we could find as like not like as people who couldn't like change the law or actively just change policy at schools. So like apps and maybe food pantries or soup kitchens, like stuff like that.
It's like a good mix of like interviews with people and then like us talking, and then some places that we visited we like recorded as we were there and got some sound from that. Yeah. Yes.
How many episodes are you hoping to make, and how long into the future do you think you'll continue this podcast?
As of right now, because we're at the end of the semester, I think we're capping at least this season at 2. But because ScarceCity is like food insecurity is a problem that's faced like not just here in Boston, it would be interesting to explore doing this in other cities potentially, and exploring how it affects other populations, not just like college students.
But we are going our separate ways, so I'm not sure how that would hold.
Yeah.
But it'd be fun to do, like, I don't know.
More.
Anyway.
Remotely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool.
I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.